Yellowstone National Park is a place of incredible beauty and dangerous mystery. Majestic mountains, silent forests, and wildlife attract millions of tourists from all over the world. But sometimes this paradise on Earth turns out to be a dark mystery. Yellowstone is known not only for its natural wonders, but also for the unexplained phenomena that occur in its remote corners. Many of them remain unsolved, fueling conspiracy theories, rumors of paranormal phenomena, and speculation about the mystical origins of the events. In our today's installment, we tell you about mysterious disappearances in Yellowstone that defy any explanation. The stories of Austin King, Paul Lammers, and Daniel Kemp will make you wonder, what really lies behind the silence and majesty of these places? Austin King, a 22-year-old employee of the concession department of Yellowstone National Park, disappeared during a solo hike in September of 2024. Austin was an experienced hiker and had spent the summer working in the park and familiarizing himself with its difficult terrain. On September 14th, he hiked into Yellowstone's backcountry, intending to climb Eagle Peak, the park's highest point above 11,000 feet, and planned to finish the hike at the southeast arm of Yellowstone Lake by September 20th. Throughout the hike, Austin kept in touch with friends and family. On September 17th, he reached the summit of Eagle Peak and contacted loved ones, telling them of his accomplishment and the deteriorating weather. Heavy fog, rain, wind, and even hail were looming over the area, and Austin expressed concern but stated his intention to continue the hike. On September 20th, he was supposed to be picked up by boat in the southeast arm of Yellowstone Lake, but he never arrived. Concerned family reported him missing to the Yellowstone Interagency Communications Center, prompting an active search effort. Search and rescue teams began work on September 21st. Austin's campsite was in the Upper Howell Creek area, not far from his planned route, but no trace of him was found there. His gear appeared untouched, and there were no signs of struggle or animal activity. Over the next few days, more than 90 people, helicopters, drones, and search dogs participated in the search. Teams surveyed Eagle Peak, Eagle Pass, Mountain Creek Trail, and surrounding areas of the national forest. Despite best efforts, deteriorating weather, including heavy snowfall and 6-foot drifts, hampered progress. The map released by the National Park Service shows the vast areas covered by both ground searches and aerial overflights. The scale of the terrain, with its rugged mountains and dense forests, made the search extremely difficult. One particularly disturbing clue came from the top of Eagle Peak. The searchers discovered an eerie note written by Austin. On the day of his disappearance, September 17th, Austin recorded a message for his family explaining that he felt disoriented because he had taken the wrong trail. He also complained about the bad weather at high altitude. "I can't feel my fingers and my goggles are fogged up from the relentless mountain weather. I can't actually believe I'm here. Had to endure a lot to get here. Rain, wet snow, hail, the worst wind and fog in my memory," the guy wrote in scribbles. Austin traversed too many rocks without the aid of ropes or gear before reaching the connecting summit, which turned out to be a false trail. Concluding his diary entry of that fateful day, King added, "I am 22 years old and will not forget today for the rest of my life." There were no other significant signs of his whereabouts. Experts ruled out the possibility of animal predation, and forensic analysis of his recent phone calls and messages yielded no other leads. By the 2nd of October, with no additional leads and conditions deteriorating, the National Park Service switched from a search and rescue operation to recovery efforts. This decision, while difficult for Austin's family and friends, recognized the growing possibility that he may not have survived. Austin's father, Brian King Henke, expressed gratitude to rescuers for their efforts but vowed to continue the search on his own. He plans to resume his efforts in the spring of 2025 when the snow melts and the area becomes more accessible. Austin's story garnered much public and media attention, emphasizing the dangers of backcountry hiking and the unpredictability of Yellowstone's wilderness. His family and friends have urged anyone with possible information to contact the Yellowstone Interagency Communications Center. Austin King was known for his adventurous spirit and love of the outdoors. His disappearance is a sobering reminder of the difficulties and risks associated with exploring remote areas. His family and loved ones have not given up hope that he can still be found, although the search is moving into its next phase. The case remains open, and search efforts, both official and volunteer, will likely continue in 2025 when conditions improve. For now, the mystery of Austin King's disappearance remains one of Yellowstone's unsolved mysteries. Paul Lammers was a 35-year-old amateur photographer from Seattle, Washington. He was known among his friends for his fascination with nature and his love of traveling to wild places. Passionate about creating a unique portfolio of national park views, he decided to travel to Yellowstone National Park, where he planned to capture rare moments of sunrise and sunset reflecting in the serene water of Jenny Lake. Paul was an experienced traveler and planned his trips carefully. Before leaving, he spent weeks studying maps and routes, and even contacted local guides to learn about the difficulty of the trails around Jenny Lake. Despite this, his disappearance became one of the most mysterious Yellowstone-related cases. Paul arrived in Yellowstone on August 12, 2018, and stayed in a small hotel near the park. His friends recalled that he was unusually focused before the trip, often reviewing weather data and images from other photographers. On the eve of his disappearance, he sent a text message to his best friend, writing, "These mountains are incredible, but it's weird here. It seems beautiful, but I have a feeling I'm not alone. Like someone is watching, maybe I'm just tired." The next day, Paul gathered his equipment, including a professional Canon camera, several lenses, a tripod, and a drone. He drove out to the park in the early morning to catch first light. He was last seen around 6 a.m. when he crossed the wooden bridge leading to the trailhead at Jenny Lake. At about 9 o'clock in the morning, Paul sent his brother a text message. "Found the perfect spot, but it's too quiet. It's kind of uncomfortable. Even the birds are silent. It feels like time has stood still." Later, at 10 hours and 30 minutes, he wrote another message to his friend. "Going to go higher. I think there is a cliff overlooking the lake. Something strange with the shadow, like it's not moving the way it should." That was the last message from Paul. His phone had been disconnected at about 11 o'clock in the morning, according to the carriers. Attempts to contact him throughout the day were unsuccessful. When Paul did not return by evening, his friends staying at the hotel reported him missing to park security. A massive search began involving rangers, volunteers, and helicopters. They surveyed the area around Jenny Lake, including trails and bluffs where he might have gone. However, no trace or personal belongings of Paul were found. Even his drone, which could have given clues to his last whereabouts, has not been found. The only clue was the barely visible shoe tracks that suddenly broke off in the soft soil near the edge of the cliff. Paul Lammers' disappearance has spawned numerous theories, each attempting to explain what may have happened on that fateful day. While many of them have a rational basis, there are also speculations that go far beyond the conventional. Here's a detailed look at the major theories. Jenny Lake is surrounded by cliffs, narrow trails, and dense forests, making it potentially dangerous for hikers. Paul could have stumbled or lost his balance, especially if he was focused on capturing unique shots without noticing the surrounding danger. Footprints found near the cliff may indicate that Paul was too close to the edge. His equipment, including his camera and drone, may have fallen with him. The rangers carefully examined the bottom of the cliff and the bottom of the lake, but found no trace of a body, camera, or even fragments of clothing. If Paul had fallen, traces of it should have remained. How could the footprints have suddenly disappeared? It looks as if Paul just vaporized. Why didn't his body or equipment resurface in the lake? Yellowstone is known for cold water, but usually objects rise to the surface over time. Yellowstone is home to numerous wild animals, including grizzly bears and mountain lions. In theory, Paul could have been attacked by one of them. Bears, for example, are known for their curiosity and aggressive behavior, especially if disturbed. The attack could have been sudden, and Paul didn't even have time to report it via phone or radio. Wild animals can also drag a body and personal belongings into hiding, but even if an animal has carried it away, there are usually traces of fur, blood, or particles of clothing left behind. Some people, including tourists and locals, believe Paul's disappearance is related to something unexplained, possibly supernatural. Yellowstone is surrounded by legends of strange events, including unexplained lights, mysterious sounds, and a watching sensation felt by many visitors. Paul's recent reports have indicated his discomfort and the feeling that someone is watching him. Tourists in the area have repeatedly reported shadows that appear at Jenny Lake, especially at dusk. These shadows are sometimes accompanied by a sudden drop in temperature and unexplained noises. But unfortunately, no material evidence of supernatural intervention has been found. It remains only a matter of faith and interpretation. Each theory has its basis, but none provides a definitive answer. The disappearance of Paul Lammers remains one of those cases that continues to stir the imagination of mystery lovers and researchers. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere at the intersection of all these speculations, hidden in the shadows of Yellowstone's mountains and crevices. In July of 1991, Daniel Kemp, a 25-year-old outdoor enthusiast from Bozeman, Montana, embarked on a 5-day hike in Yellowstone National Park that was supposed to be relaxing and full of adventure. Daniel was no stranger to the wilderness. Having grown up near the Rocky Mountains, he spent countless weekends hiking, traveling, and honing his survival skills. Yellowstone, with its vast, untouched wilderness, had always intrigued him, and this trip was a personal challenge for him to explore its little-visited areas. Daniel carefully planned his route, which was to begin at the Beckler River and pass through the Shoshone Geyser Basin before ending in the Beaver Creek Valley. He informed his family of his route and took detailed maps, a compass, a sturdy tent, and enough food for the trip. Being an experienced outdoorsman, he also took along a first aid kit, hunting knife, and whistle in case of emergencies. Before leaving, Daniel promised his parents that he would check in at the end of the hike on July 19th. Confident in his abilities, he set off for the park on the morning of July 14th, a bright and sunny day. Daniel's journey began smoothly. Rangers on the trail near the Beckler River remembered him as polite and well-prepared, and several hikers reported seeing him on the trail on July 14th and 15th. He was last seen by a group of hikers at Shoshone Geyser Basin on the afternoon of July 15th. He spoke with them briefly, mentioning his plans to camp at Shoshone Lake in the evening, and then move toward Beaver Creek. Campers later recalled that Daniel seemed calm and confident, showing no signs of worry or anxiety. He mentioned the unpredictable weather, but did not seem concerned about the possibility of a storm. This was the last confirmed meeting with him. When Daniel did not return home on July 19th, his parents became concerned. By July 21st, after no contact with Daniel, they alerted park management. A search and rescue operation began that same day, and rangers began at Shoshone Geyser Basin, the last known location of his whereabouts. The initial search centered on the trail between Shoshone Lake and Beaver Creek Valley. Rangers found evidence of a recent campground near the lake that matched Daniel's route. His camp looked untouched, his tent was still set up, and his backpack remained inside. However, one detail was immediately puzzling. His boots were neatly placed near the tent, and slightly damp socks were found nearby. There were no signs of animal fighting or disturbance, but Daniel was nowhere to be found. The search quickly intensified, with more than 50 people, search dogs, and helicopters equipped with infrared technology. For the next week, rescuers combed the surrounding area, paying special attention to nearby trails, ravines, and hot springs. The park's thermal springs posed a significant hazard, and rescuers feared Daniel might have accidentally fallen into one of the scalding pools. The searchers faced a number of challenges: difficult terrain. The Shoshone Geyser Basin is a remote area with treacherous terrain that includes smoking geysers, boiling mud pots, and dense forests. Weather conditions. Summer storms brought heavy rain and high winds, further complicating the search. By July 25th, the search had spread to areas beyond Daniel's planned route, but no new leads had emerged. One theory was that Daniel had gotten lost or disoriented after leaving his campsite. While that seems unlikely given his experience, Yellowstone's dense forests and changeable weather may have contributed to the confusion. Rangers noted that even experienced campers sometimes underestimate the vastness and complexity of the park. Yellowstone is home to bears, wolves, and mountain lions. Although the campground showed no signs of animal attacks, rangers could not completely rule out the possibility of encountering wildlife elsewhere. The region around Lake Shoshone is dotted with geothermal springs. It is possible that Daniel, while exploring his surroundings, could have fallen into a boiling pool or been trapped in one of the park's hidden crevices. Although this rarely happens in Yellowstone, some have speculated on the possibility of foul play. This theory was not given much credence because the area was remote and there was no indication that another person was near the campsite. By July 29th, after nearly 2 weeks of searching, the Park Service officially shut down the operation. Helicopters, infrared scans, and foot searches yielded no new evidence. Daniel Kemp was still missing, with only his campground and a few scattered belongings left as evidence. Daniel's disappearance shocked his family and friends. His disappearance seemed almost impossible to those who knew him as a careful and experienced outdoorsman. His parents placed a memorial bench at the trailhead on the Beckler River, where he started with the words, "For Daniel, who loved these wild places." The Bozeman community held vigils in Daniel's memory, and many volunteers joined the search in the early days, hoping to bring him home. Daniel Kemp's case remains one of Yellowstone's most enduring mysteries. Over the years, his story has been retold by hikers, rangers, and locals as a cautionary tale about the unpredictability of nature and the need to use extreme caution when visiting the backcountry. In the decades since its disappearance, the park has continued to emphasize the safety of solo hiking and has issued new guidelines for those venturing into remote areas. Despite numerous leads, Daniel Kemp's fate remains unknown, and his disappearance a chilling reminder that wilderness can both inspire and take those who fall into its depths. That's all for now, folks. Yellowstone National Park remains one of the most mysterious places on Earth, full of mystery and unexplained phenomena. If you liked this episode, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell not to miss new videos about mystical stories and mysteries of the world. Share this video with your friends and write in the comments what you think about these mysterious disappearances. Perhaps you have your own theories. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episodes.